Hi, I'm Brittany Pacheco,
And I'm Amber Joshua.
and we are back. Amber and I, finally, I'm so excited. We are the Watchers in the Basement. Welcome back to the Watchers in the Basement. If you are a returning watcher, or welcome if you're new, consider subscribing by hitting that button down below. We, Amber and I, are part of the Ton, if you will, that is that of Bridgerton. And I'm very excited to be talking about Bridgerton with you today. Amber, thank you so much for joining us. And I do have to give you a lot of credit because the fact that I, up until recently, had not watched Bridgerton. And here we are about to discuss season 4. Amber, tell us a little bit about your relationship with Bridgerton. It's based on books, for those who may not be familiar with that. Have you read the books? And also, how have you come to love the series? And tell us, just your overall thoughts on season 4 so far.
So I have not read the books. I have wanted to. I've been a little scared too because I've heard that they are wildly different from the series, which normally is not a bad thing. I am totally fine with like artist interpretations and things like that. But I think it was that from what I've heard and seen, and I've heard clips and seen TikToks of people talking about it and analyzing it, that the characters are personality wise not something I enjoy reading. Like they're kind of not great people. Um so I don't really have but that's all I've heard. I haven't actually read the series myself. So I could become entirely completely wrong because I've heard things like Francesca's book is amazing and beautiful and touching. Um things like that. I really do love the story. I have actually been a huge fan of Regency-esque things because of
Mhm.
like most people, I was into Jane Austen is was the start of it. And I have loved most Regency things up until that, like most of my life since I was introduced to them as a child. I think my mom and I watched Pride and Prejudice when it came out in 2005. So we I'm very familiar with the Regency fictional media, so that was totally fine by me. And it's not even just Jane Austen, I just like historical
Mhm.
romances. And I so when somebody said that there was gonna be a show that is based off of a book series that is a Regency romance and that they're primarily based off of romantic tropes, I was so excited. So I went into I fell in love with it. I did try to get my mom into it at first, but
Mhm.
I think my mom likes the more I don't want to say not the more like not as vulgar
Mm.
parts of
Spicy.
like yeah, she doesn't really care for the spice. So seeing at first the very first season, obviously seeing
A lot.
you see a lot. Yeah, you see a
I
lot.
see a lot.
Sorry, I war
Oh
flashbacks.
my.
Um yeah, you see a lot in the very first season, in the first episode, really. And my mom was not about it, but also I think a lot of that was due to the fact that Jane, the 2005 Pride and Prejudice was her introduction
Mm,
into that media, and she had never read the books or anything like
mm,
that. And that is a very good movie.
yeah.
So, like,
It's a
I even
it's a
had
big
her.
culture shock, I would think, looking at it
Yeah.
from that perspective and then Bridgerton butt cheeks.
Oh, yeah, because I tried to get her to watch other adaptations of Pride and Prejudice. Like, my favorite personal adaptation of Pride and Prejudice is the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. I love that.
Mm,
And it's a modern take off of Pride and Prejudice and done YouTube vlog style. I love it. But she was not interested. She did not like it at all. Same
mhm,
thing with the Emma that came out 5 years ago.
yeah,
The 2020 Emma. I loved it because Emma's my favorite. And
mhm,
she was not about it.
yeah,
Like she enjoyed the movie, but
mhm.
again, it just didn't stick with her every single time. It's not as good as Pride and Prejudice. So
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, with that being said, obviously your mother is not maybe too keen on the Bridgerton, but in terms of your experience with Bridgerton and then that of season
Yeah.
so far, because we do have a question here from Carolyn DJ. Thank you so much for being here. Carolyn says Bridgerton continues to further the needle and is a great fourth season. Hashtag history remade. Hashtag her story too. Carolyn goes on to say, are you enjoying this masterpiece? Yes or no?
Yes. I love it. I did when my mom visited. That's kind of where I was trying to round out with it.
Ah,
When my mom visited, I bullied her into it, and so we been the entire. She was here for a week, guys. Not a long period of time.
no.
She binged the entire series with me and Queen Charlotte.
Oh yes.
So I she hasn't had the chance to watch the fourth season yet.
Okay.
I don't worry, I'm working on it with my sisters, but I'm loving it because Benedict is one of my favorite characters, along with Lady Danbury. So I'm so excited
Yep.
for this season, and also I love adaptations or like anything that is just referencing fairy tales or
Mm,
other media. So
mhm.
the fact that this is the Cinderella trope,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so excited. I'm loving it. I I knew what the offer would be, and I was devastated that it was going to be that at the end of this the
Yeah.
cliffhanger for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
We'll get to it.
it's so cringy. Yeah, we'll get to it. But
Incredibly.
I have to answer yes or no. Yes, I am loving it. It is so good. But yeah, you tell me your thoughts.
So, I am a late bloomer when it comes to Bridgerton. I know that the show originally began in 2020. It is a drama slash romance television series on Netflix for those who may be tuning in to our podcast for the first time. And just FYI, spoilers, y'all. If you haven't watched Bridgerton, major spoilers we will be divulging here momentarily. But I had not gotten into Bridgerton up until recently, and that's all thanks to Amber. She, wore me down. And but, it's a really great storytelling television show. And aesthetically, it looks amazing. I love the costumes. I was very shocked, of course, to see how much skin there would be throughout the episodes. And what I do appreciate is that every season it seems to focus on maybe one or two of the Bridgerton children, right? There's a total of 8 of them. And that's a lot of kids, especially for that era, right? Like lots of kids, lots and lots of kids. But they are fun to watch. I love the side characters as well, especially Lady Danbury. I think she's phenomenal. Definitely one of my favorite characters.
Hell
And
yeah.
and yeah, I will say I did watch this fairly quickly with Amber. And then season 4, it took me a little bit to get to just because of life events. And what I ended up doing was watching season 4 with my mother, which tad bit awkward, obviously, because again, the amount of skin that can be shown in this series. And it's been a lot of male skin at that. So, yeah, not mad about it. Don't think my mom was mad about it either. But again, awkward. So, that being said, with season 4, I know, Amber, that Benedict is your favorite Bridgerton of the lot. And he is fun. He's goofy. He's just a free spirit and doesn't necessarily want to conform to society entirely, right? He's found
Yeah.
this sort of new world that he is exploring in season 3, as a throuple, if you will. And he's not quite ready to settle down. And we kind of continue that story for season 4. Now, we're not going to necessarily break down every little detail that's in the first part of season 4, which are episodes 1 through 4. The new season is also the part 2 of the season is going to drop February 26th. So definitely looking forward to that because we're missing some characters. We're missing
Yeah.
some pivotal characters from the Bridgerton family, but they will return. We'll talk about that momentarily. But with the Cinderella trope that we are getting thus far, I think it's being done very well. I had to rewatch the season just to make sure if I liked it or not, because you've been told this story numerous times. You know how it's going to go, but then it's like, well, you have the Disney version of the Cinderella story, but then you also have like Ever After that starred Drew Barrymore, and there's some differences. Obviously,
Mhm.
there's more kid friendly sort of storytelling, and then there's like the adult version, if you will. And I was just very curious to see how this show was going to tell that story. So let's just go ahead and get into it. This season stars Yerin, Luke Thompson, Nicola Coughlan, Claudia Jessie, Luke Newton, Hannah Dodd, Ruth Gemmell, Katie Leung, who is a Harry Potter OG, if you will, Michelle Mao, Isabella Way, Golda Rosheuvel. I'm butchering these names. I'm so sorry, y'all. Adjoa, Andoh, and of course, the narrator, the one, the only Julie Andrews. So a lot of these actors I'm not too familiar with, of course, but I mean, I think they're doing a phenomenal job. And I just want to kick off first and foremost with the Harry Potter OG, if you will, the one, the only, formerly known as Cho Chang. To see Katie play the villain, if you will, in this series, and she does it so well. Also, for her not to have her Scottish accent that we all became very familiar with in the Harry Potter movies.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on Katie's performance as quote unquote like the evil stepmother, who is, by the way, her character is Lady Penwood?
Oh.
Uh-oh, did we lose you?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Amber, you still with
Sorry.
us?
I lost you, but it looked like on my end that you froze, but I did hear your question.
Good.
Um oh my gosh, I think she's doing fantastic.
Yep.
I think she does well at kind of making me forget about Cho Chang. Like, which is good. I mean, that's the whole point of an actor. The whole point of acting is that you're supposed to play a bunch of different characters.
Mhm.
Like, it is kind of that's the whole thing. Like, I just gosh, I really wanted to smack her because I mean, well, that's how it is always is with the evil stepmom kind of character in these
Yeah.
Cinderella stories because
Yeah.
she's just so mean. And
Mhm.
I damn, she does not look fantastic. And
Oh, please. Yes. Oh my goodness.
yeah. Oh my gosh. And I love the I guess the stepsisters at this point.
Mhm.
Because I specifically Posey, I'm in love with her. She's so
We love
sweet.
Posey. Protect Posey at all costs, especially from her sister, okay?
Yes,
Like,
I will.
let's yeah,
I will fight armies for Posey. I love her so much.
so sweet.
Uh, she is adorable, but oh my gosh, I honestly, I'm just liking all the performances here in
Yeah.
general. I think it's fantastic,
Mhm.
and I I've always loved masquerade balls. That's because I fell in love with Phantom of the Opera when I was 10 years old.
As you
So
should.
masquerade balls in general, beautiful, love them. I've been to one in my life when I was 14, and
Mhm.
so I but going to a masquerade ball, that's like a whole other tier that I've only dreamed of.
Yeah.
So I would be exactly like Sophie was, where I'm just, staring at the decor because
Yep.
but I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm but her performance, amazing. I'm loving it so
Mhm.
far. Even all of the new actors that we are seeing this season, I'm loving it.
For sure. So, on the subject of the masquerade, let's just kind of set up the plot, if you will, for season 4. So, we have the Bridgertons returning for the season, right? We have John and Francesca, and Eloise have returned from Scotland. Violet is actually hosting the first ball of the season, which is usually done by Lady Danbury. But Lady Danbury has other plans, if you will, that require her, lack of a better word, permission to leave the country. And she needs that permission from her friend, the Queen Charlotte, the one and only. But again, Violet is going to be hosting the first ball of the season, which happens to be a masquerade. And I just have to also kind of sidebar real quick. The fact that the reveal of Lady Whistledown at the end of season 3 to me was met with very little like interest, I guess you could say. It's like, wait, we're just gonna drop this bomb. She outs herself, or the queen outs her. She owns it, and then it's like, okay, tra la 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 la. Now everyone wants to be gossiped about, and that's what the queen wants from Penelope, aka Lady Whistledown. She just wants, gossip. The queen is no longer interested in selecting a diamond for the season. She's fixated now just on gossip, and for whatever reason, she's shifted into that of the men. Like, who is going to be the bachelor of the season, and who's going to steal the show, if you will. Well,
Yeah.
Anyway, Masquerade Ball, hosted by Violet Bridgerton. By the way, costumes. My goodness, these costumes look phenomenal. I love how Lady Bridgerton dresses, or the Dowager Lady Bridgerton, whatever you want to call her. Violet. She looks phenomenal. Phenomenal. But
she looks like a whimsical goddess. I mean, I think her actual costume is supposed to be like a unicorn or a fairy. I think she's a fairy. I think she was a fairy.
I get the vibes for sure.
But yeah, gosh, she looked. All of them looked amazing.
Yes, for sure.
I don't have a singular favorite costume, but I think, and you and I did talk about it, that I actually love one of those billowy shirts on a guy. So actually, and black is one of my favorite colors. So
yes.
Benedict's all black outfit,
so lovely.
Yeah, I liked it, guys.
Well, I think other people prefer Benedict without clothes, because that's how Violet discovers Benedict at the beginning of this episode, because he's not present for one of the Bridgerton gatherings. She goes off to find him. He's in bed with an unchaperoned woman, and then there's another one, laying across the room. And yeah, so Benedict is being a rake, as they put it in Bridgerton, right? And Violet is determined that Benedict is going to find a wife this season. That is her focus, and the Masquerade Ball is the place to begin finding a wife, much to Benedict's dismay. But he does. He does find someone very interesting at the masquerade who he's never met before. He kind of rescues her from an unwanted dance from a lord, and they kind of hit it off pretty quickly. And this is the main character of the season. Her name is Sophie Peck, played by Yerin Ha. Oh my gosh, she blew me away. Like, the wittiness, her cool sort of just attitude towards him. Like, she's, she knows who he is, but at the same time, she's not entirely impressed by him in a way. And that kind of just keeps it interested. What do you think of the chemistry between these two?
It's phenomenal. I even just seeing them in interviews in the press tour and stuff like that, doing show games, so funny. I love them. They're amazing. And Sophie is, her character itself, like you said, she definitely is intriguing to him because she treats him like she actually sees him. And I think that's something that he's not really used to, especially because he's the second son. And we know that he's been kind of given things easily, and he doesn't like that. He wants to be able to make a name for himself, be important. He wants to feel attention, but not attention just because he's a Bridgerton, not attention because he's a gentleman. He wants to be actually seen, and I relate. I get it. So Sophie comes along, and she's sweet, but she's attentive and teasing, and I love that.
The fact that she's not putty in his hands, right?
Oh, yeah.
She's got bite to what she says when
Mhm.
he's trying to figure out who she is, like a lady at a ball who doesn't know how to dance. Like
Yeah.
who are you? And the sparring of questions, where did you grow up? In England, in the country, or in the city, both. And who are your parents? Mother and
Mom
father,
and dad. Yeah. So
I mean,
funny.
it's just
And
so cute.
yeah,
It's
and
so, so cute.
she's clever and witty, and it's perfect for him.
Mhm,
And I just love seeing her. And honestly, I think we
mhm,
also see, I mean, should we see her like this with just everybody? She's a silly girl. We see her have like these kind of conversations with her friends back at her the place where she was with her stepmother. Like
mhm.
we see that she actually is genuinely like this, and I
Oh, yeah.
she's not putting up a front for
No.
Benedict, and he can see
She
that,
was
he
her
can
true
sense that.
self.
Yeah, and I understand the mystique, man. I
Behind the mask, she was her true self, which is
Mhm.
it's so poetic, I think.
Yeah, it's the whole point of masquerades, guys. Come on. Like, I love it so much, and
Mhm.
I mean, the fact that they already had, like, a kiss, though, blew my little, like, Regency brain away. I was like,
How scandalous.
"Yeah!" Like, "Oh my god."
'Cause
Um,
if you liken it to that of season 1 with Daphne and the Duke,
yeah,
where he got very touchy-feely and kissed her out in the garden or wherever it was, and then they're seen by Antony, it's like, "You have to marry her now. Like,
yeah,
you've defiled her just by a kiss,"
yeah.
you know?
So, I mean, even the smallest things, like, they didn't even really touch each other's hands, like, back then, like,
Yeah.
especially the fact that they are unchaperoned.
Mhm.
So, like, they're unchaperoned, he took her glove off. That is real intimate, man, guys, like,
And sniffed
I
the wrist. It's so funny.
these Bridgerton boys have insane sense of smell, but, um,
Yeah, Antony smelling Kate's perfume as she walked by and being busted by Lady Danbury was peak.
yeah, it's a thing, guys,
It's a thing.
but no, the ball was beautiful, it was portrayed amazingly. I really
Mhm.
loved seeing their interactions and the interactions that we do see henceforth. But I really wanna start off with this, guys, like, he isn't stupid. He didn't see Sophie until, like, at least 2 months after the ball.
Yeah,
So, he was already kind of forgetting her face.
yeah.
So many people online, I've been seeing them posting things about, like, "How do you not know?" or "How are you looking at all of these women, like, not of her ethnicity
Mhm.
or nowhere close," and
Yeah.
just thinking it might be her, but he doesn't. It took 2 months at least, guys,
Mhm.
and he kept trying to look for her, but
Yeah.
wasn't finding her, and it was just, guys, he's not stupid. He's not blind. He does clearly remember her because he's been able to draw her and paint her. He
Mhm.
just doesn't remember the details of the face. How many times do you remember the people that you tell me? Describe in detail the face of the cashier at the grocery store 2 months ago.
Yeah.
You can't.
Case in point.
Exactly. Like,
Case in point. Yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
can't. I just wanted to point that out before we carried on.
no, you're good.
My boy's not an idiot, guys.
Amber is very protective of Benedict. He is her favorite
Yeah,
Bridgerton boy.
I
And
love him.
yes, yes. No, so going back to what the storyline is showing, obviously it's a very Cinderella trope. I do appreciate that they did not go with the quintessential, oh, she ran off at midnight because everyone was revealing who they were and she lost her shoe. No, it was the glove. Like I love that sort of twist and in respect to what the trope is because it's different, right? And all he now has is the glove. Anybody could literally fit into a glove without any question. But the fact that that is the item that he has in possession. And I did appreciate how when we finally were getting what happened from Sophie's perspective of how she ended up going to the ball and whatnot, it gave that element of what we saw with the Drew Barrymore movie of Ever After, right? There was a silver dress that had been in storage. There were shoes that were borrowed. In this case, it was from the stepmother, Araminta. Araminta, I'm going to butcher that name. The mask that Sophie was working on for one of the girls, she ends up wearing it, and it does cover a good portion of her face, right? Like really, really covers up her face very well. And just the events that transpired to get to the ball. Sophie is a maid in the Penwood household. We learned that her father, well, if you call him father, right, was marrying Araminta, who had 2 small children, and he introduced Sophie to Araminta as his ward. And that like horrified Araminta because clearly she didn't know that this lord had an illegitimate child, right? So we're led to believe, but I'm sure all will be revealed in part 2 once we get it. But that's not what she bargained for. Fast forwarding the story along a little bit more is that, of course, Lord Penwood died according to his will. Sophie was not named in the will. She gets nothing. And Araminta's way of protecting Sophie was to make her a maid in the household in order to protect her and keep her, taken care of, I guess you could say, out of the kindness of her heart, if you will. But we do see throughout this first part of the season that Araminta and her daughter Rosamond, not Posey, are just horrible. They're just very horrible to Sophie. They do not respect her, clearly. They think that they are better than her. And Sophie just kind of takes it and knows how to be professional, for lack of a better word, and does her duty. And she does a lot. She does the cleaning, the mending, the you name it, she does it because they're a household of 8 servants, right? And the fact that she also is just a very educated child because she obviously was allowed to be educated thanks to her late Lord Father. But it makes her being a maid just curious because most maids are not educated like that, right? She speaks 3 different languages. She's versed in art and has an aptitude for the sciences and offers her opinions when no one has asked anything in of her. So she is a rarity in the world of servants in this era. And how she eventually comes across Benedict later is it's very cavalier, I would say. You want to talk about how they kind of reconnect?
Yeah. So after months of not being able to find the Lady in Silver, Benedict decides to go on a bender, and he winds up at someone's country home, a bit away from the city, and he Oh, well, do you want me to talk about more of the going to the Penwood house, or
Not so
I
much
was gonna
that.
go into okay.
Well, so just real quick, obviously, while Benedict is on the hunt for the mysterious, his silver ingenue, I mean, he goes to household. He does end up going to the Penwood house, maybe thinking that it's, Posey, but it's not, because obviously when asked the question of, oh, what did you dress as at the masquerade? Oh, I was this. Well, you're clearly not the person. So
She was a mermaid.
as a mermaid, just so sweet. But yeah, Sophie looks on and she's encouraged. She's encouraged by I think his name is John or is it Alfie? Either way, her friend to just go reveal yourself. And she's like, for what? He's not looking for me. He's looking for the lady in silver. Like, That's who he's looking for. But either way, she sees the kindness that Benedict bestows upon Posey, because Posey is just a sweet, sweet girl and what have you. But when they reconnect, it's outside of London because Sophie has been dismissed by Araminta because
I just wanted to check which way you wanted me to go.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I just wanted to check which way you wanted me to go. But yeah, she was dismissed because one of the guys apparently who owns that location in his country home that they were partying at, he and a couple of the other boys were trying to assault one of the maids. And she helped her friend. She intervened and helped her friend and got her away, but they started going after her. And she does try to defend herself and things like that. That leads to more of a tussle, and she's dismissed. But Benedict ends up fighting him and the other guys to protect her and the other maid. So it was genuinely him physically fighting. Like, he does get wounded, and she starts marching off because she was dismissed for standing up for her friend and was dismissed from this whole endeavor. And he doesn't want her walking at night in the middle of nowhere, because this is, again, the English countryside. It is the middle of nowhere, and town is miles away, or the closest location would be miles away, if that. So he accompanies her home, but they get caught in the rain. And when they get caught in the rain, he decides to go to his home, which is my cottage. Love that it's actually called My Cottage. That's adorable.
It's so simple. It just sounds so Benedict at the same time. Like, right? Also, the word cottage is such an understatement of what the household is. Like, my goodness, it's a small chateau. Like,
I've been seeing so many people because another hot TV show at the moment is Heated Rivalry, which I have seen.
Yes, I've heard about that. Have not.
I know you have not, but I have watched, and in that show as well, they go to his cottage, and it is also just like this amazing, beautiful home.
Mansion,
and
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty rich athlete, so it's a very nice home and private in the middle of the woods. It's gorgeous. And prime real estate, beautiful. And people have been making jokes about how, like, Benedict and Shane Hollander have, like, the same idea of the word cottage, because he also invites his love interest to go to the cottage.
Of course,
and it's this beautiful home. And it's just like, do you guys not understand what cottage is?
Yeah.
But
I mean, Sophie thought that the stable was the cottage. Arguably understandable. And he's like, no, that's my stable. He's like, the cottage is just around the corner. And then he's like, whoopam, this multi-room.
Come on, Sophie, get with the program.
Jeez, come on.
But
Silly.
I'm loving it. And they do have some banter back and forth, because she's very much just like, because he says, like, oh, I didn't get your name. And she's like, yeah, I didn't give it. Like, she's just,
I mean, you would think
snarky.
You would think that alone would kind of wake him up and be like, oh, this reminds me of my silver lady, who was also quick-witted and snarky. But he's a man. Y'all don't pay attention.
Yes. It's just, for him, he's such a puppy dog. It's just a coincidence. A neat little coinkydink that this maid is snarky, witty, and clever. And the housekeeper and are both the groundskeeper are both away for the night. So I thought it was hilarious that she just climbed through the window and opened the door.
She's like, servants are resourceful.
Yeah. And he's over here looking for a key, as if that, like, I love that, because that was not really a concept at that point in time, because usually there would be somebody home, or the only keys would be with the housekeeper. So the fact that he starts looking in around the, like, potted plants, I was losing it. But
Bless him.
yeah, she's just like, "Yeah, get in here," and she teaches him how to start a fire.
He's like, fire, meet wood. There you go. And she's
But
like, it needs kindling. Yeah, no, that was great. But Benedict at this point is like hiding his wound, right? In that
oh,
scuffle with
mhm.
Cavender, he ended up either rolling onto glass or somehow like the glass bottle just broke on the pavement on the cobblestone. And yeah, he ends up getting injured, plays it off as like, oh no, it's just a bruise, it's no big deal. But once he leaves Sophie in her room, in one of his sister's bedroom, right, we see that Benedict's wound is actually much more severe than just bruising, right? It's
Mhm.
actual, like, it's a deep cut. And it starts to fester to the point where his screaming wakes up Sophie in the other room. She comes to his aid and ends up falling asleep in the room with him, not in the bed with him, people, but just in the
She's
room with him.
respectful.
She is. She is. But they are discovered by the Crabtrees, who are the caretakers of my cottage. And it's made clear from Benedict that Sophie is to be treated as a guest. Yes, we know her station is below his, but at his insistence, she is to be treated as a guest, and the Crabtrees oblige, right? But it's kind of funny to see Sophie not know how to deal with free
Relax.
time. Yeah, like she's
Yeah.
just so used to doing something. And we see her attempt to rip out the weeds or whatever from the garden, and she ends up getting her dress dirty and almost tripping on the walkway, and she just doesn't know what to do with herself. And Benedict is kind of bedridden, if you will,
Mhm.
but they find ways to see each other. Maybe not intentionally, but nonetheless. The whole library scene where we really see them kind of just get more comfortable with one another. She's commenting on his art where he's like, "Oh no, I'm not good. I just dabble." And she's like, "Well, tell me about this library." They start speaking French to one another, and
Yeah.
she is very very good with her French. And in this show, Luke Thompson has very poor French pronunciation. And I found out that he actually does speak fluent French because he was raised in France. And I'm just like, how did that not kill you to speak in proper French? I
Yeah.
think it's really funny. But what I love about Luke and his on-screen chemistry with Yerin is his little smirk, like he's got like this side like little smirk, and it reminds me of my late boss, who he was Irish. And so when he was being very coy or very witty, he that little smirk would come up too. And I'm just like, is this a European thing? Like what is with these European boys that that do
Might
that?
be.
I mean, it was very sweet. It was very sweet. But
I loved that
I love that.
with the when they were talking about his art, I love that she doesn't just like his art, she gets it. Even saying about how it captures the loneliness or things like
Hmm.
that. Like she's commenting about his art with an actual critical eye and an
Hmm.
understanding eye that even he was a little flattered by. He's like,
Hmm.
"That yeah, thank you. Yeah."
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what I meant. Like it was to be understood on that level must have
Yes,
meant a lot to him, and it did. And
it did.
they do have their little moments, and
Hmm.
yeah, they're there for at
Yeah,
least a couple days.
they for sure are, because Benedict needs to heal. And the lake scene,
Oh my gosh. Why are you in a lake if you just had an infection and like it must have
because
not
he's a
been
man
that
and he
bad.
doesn't understand anything.
Yeah, and honestly, like Regency era things because of that dip in the pool with Mr. Darcy that the 1994 version did. It's a thing, guys.
It's a
Like
thing.
Anthony falling in the water in season 2,
Mm,
that was just
sorry.
another thing. Like we just like seeing those billowy shirts wet.
Mm,
We're fine with it.
mhm,
But yeah,
mhm.
we're more than fine with it.
Yeah, way more than fine. Mhm.
Very, very much fine with it. But
And
yeah,
Sophie too. Sophie was very fine with it.
You can't blame the girl.
No,
Yeah.
because that's where they really share a first kiss face to face, right? And they're both very bashful about it. And then ultimately Benedict's like, yeah, we're gonna return to London, but um we're just gonna have to forget about all this ever happening, which hurts Sophie, truthfully,
Yeah,
right? Obviously,
it
she
does.
knows she's the silver lady that he's been looking for. He clearly doesn't know, and it's heartbreaking for her, right? However, when they do return to London, Benedict, who had promised her to find work, kept true to his word, but that work is inside Bridgerton House, and Violet was a little taken aback because she obviously didn't know about Benedict's injury. She just knew that apparently Sophie had should not be trusted for whatever reason, and
Well, that's
was
what
impressed.
because Araminta, she intentionally told Sophie when she kicked her out that like I will tell everybody, I will spoil your name, no one will
Yeah,
hire you.
you won't work in
So
Mayfair again, basically.
yeah, so
Yeah.
and she evidently did because
Hmm.
Benedict even says he's like, I did reach out to a few of my other people, my friends, but
Yeah.
they weren't able to hire you, or they were told not to.
They
And
said you can't
he,
be trusted.
yeah, and then obviously word also got to Violet, but
Hmm.
upon hearing that she helped take care of him and what actually happened with
Hmm.
her most recent employment and being fired because of being, assaulted,
Yeah.
he Violet, because she is a decent, amazing human being, is like, yeah, come here.
Yeah.
So they
Welcome.
welcome her in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sophie is now the new lady in waiting, if you will, to Eloise and Hyacinth, who, sidebar real quick, Eloise has been voluntold to chaperone Hyacinth in her finishing lessons. And the sisters have some conflict between them as well,
Yes.
obviously. Eloise just does not want anything to do with society. She made it clear early on that she wants to be on the shelf, meaning she has no intention of finding a husband and participating in society in
Mm-mm.
that fashion. But she also doesn't want to have to babysit her youngest
Well,
sister either.
the thing is about that is if she were to be a spinster,
Mhm.
that would be her job.
Yeah, but
Taking
she doesn't wanna
care
do
of
it.
taking care of siblings and nieces and nephews and cousins, doing that stuff, that is your job if
Yeah,
you are a spinster. Like,
yeah,
what did you think was gonna happen? That you're gonna be able to go to the countryside and write a novel? Eloise, understand the place you are in.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
I I do like Eloise, but
Mm,
she does have the parts that frustrate me, and one of those things is well, I mean, and I said it to you when we were watching it that she is especially we see it with Penelope, and Penelope
mhm.
calls it out
Oh,
that
yeah.
she's so busy hearing herself talk that she doesn't see what's right in front of her. If
Yes.
she had the moment that she actually started paying attention to Penelope,
Mhm.
within 5 minutes, she figured out that she was Lady Whistledown.
Yep,
And
yep.
it's not just with Penelope, it's kind of with everybody. She doesn't really focus on anything but what's churning in her own mind, which is some people are like that. I understand.
Yes.
So, but power to Hyacinth for calling her out later in the episodes because
Yeah.
I personally have had like family members who like everything I say is in one ear out the other,
Mhm.
felt very dismissive,
Mhm.
and having that kind of conversation, how she worded it too was like, I used to think that you didn't have any that you specifically just didn't want to talk to me, but no, it's apparently everybody because you're selfish.
Mhm.
And I didn't have that kind of foresight or understanding when I was Hyacinth's age
Yeah.
because I think she's 14. So,
Something like that, yeah.
yeah, so I felt for it. I
Mhm.
felt for Hyacinth because Hyacinth's just trying to talk about something that's exciting for her.
Mhm.
And I
And
just
she does get a little bit of backup from Sophie, because
yes.
while they're having this discussion, it's in that moment that Sophie kind of backs up what Hyacinth was saying about a book on a particular ballerina that Eloise had no interest in learning about. And it surprised Eloise, for a maid to speak out of term and to offer something that was of interest to Eloise in the sense of books and things of that nature. And
Yeah.
Eloise very much takes to Sophie just as much as Hyacinth has, and
Yeah.
what have you. So that was kind of cool to see how
Mhm.
Sophie kind of bridges between the two sisters and whatnot.
I do
Um,
feel, but even in that moment, Hyacinth was a little bit bummed out because
she
she brought
was.
up a book because she was trying to relate to Eloise
Yeah.
because of Eloise being such a big reader. And
Mhm.
it was searching, it was
Sure.
trying.
Yeah.
And I do feel, and like she, because she slumped down and kind of like crossed her arms, you can definitely
Mhm.
see that she was like, "You stole my thunder." But
Yeah.
yeah, I love seeing the dynamic. I like seeing it every season with every pairing who pairs up with a Bridgerton. I'm
Mhm.
actually loving seeing them interact with the rest of the family members.
Mhm.
And also, like, throughout all of this, as like once the fact that she knows so many languages and that
Mhm.
she's read these books and stuff like that is revealed to Violet. Violet's just like kind of impressed, but also a little like, why do you know these things?
Yes.
Because she's going to ask the questions that a dumb
Mhm.
boy is not going to ask, which is, why do you know
What's your
this?
story?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I I don't know. I mean, I'm liking the whole season so far.
Yeah.
It kind of just dwindles down to that.
Well, let's wrap the main storyline, that is
Yes.
Benedict and Sophie, and then we'll talk about the other
She
side stories
kicks
that
him
are
out of
going
his
on.
own house.
Oh my god, yes. Like, what power does this woman possess? Now, like, consider her station. Her station is that of a maid, a servant in the Regency area, to a great household that has had 9 viscounts, right? So they are old money, like
Yes.
old money. They're good people, and Benedict is completely enamored by her. And when she airs out her frustrations with him, because the premise of her taking this job on, whether it be temporary or permanent, was that he's like, "Oh, it's a big house. We're not going to run into each other. You won't even know I'm here." But they encounter each other all the time, and I
Because
think
he
the tip,
seeks her out. And it's
right,
just,
and the tip of the iceberg
mm,
was the moment that somebody outside of the Bridgerton household claims to have found the lady in silver.
mhm.
And she fit the description. She didn't know how to dance. She immediately left the country, from the after the ball had concluded, blah blah blah. And so, yeah, Benedict was interested because he had told his mother, "Hey, I'm back. I'm looking to, start up the search again." She was very excited. She's like, "Oh my god, my son's going to get married." And he obviously meets this young woman who is a delight, obviously, and ultimately finds out it wasn't her because she had fallen ill before the ball. So clearly, that's not the person for him. But because Sophie had walked in on this meeting, if you will, and she's visibly bothered that he is meeting with this young woman. And she tells him off, like, "Everywhere I turn, you're there. You said
Mhm.
that you weren't going to be here. You have a bachelor pad. Why don't you go stay there?" And he's like, "Well, okay. Like, I guess I'll go and do that." And he immediately leaves. She kicked him out of his own
Yeah.
house, as you
Yeah.
said.
We love an
Like, the
obedient man.
power this woman possesses is top tier.
Yeah. I'll say it again. We love an obedient man.
Yes.
And, um, yeah, I love it. And he was just so quick to, I mean, he was a little upset, like a little kick puppy, but he's like, "Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'll go." You want me to go? Yeah, I'll go, queen. Bye. And he doesn't even
And
stay away for long though, because
no, 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 because he can't.
and no.
He is he is not vexed by her. What's the word I'm looking for? He is consumed. She consumes him.
Yeah.
And he kind of
And
consumes her in that moment too. Not in the way that you people may be thinking, okay?
you
a
kind of meant it a little bit in that way.
little
But
bit. A little bit.
yeah,
Not in the
yeah, be
conventional
honest.
way.
Not the way that Violet was.
Whoo! Okay, nope, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're not gonna get
Okay,
ahead of
okay, okay,
ourselves.
okay.
No, but yes, they have a moment, stairwells. And you know what, Amber, thinking back on it, when Sophie and Benedict return to Bridgerton house and they part ways, right? She's going to follow Mrs. Wilson to the servants' quarters and he goes up the stairs and they depart. You know, you see the camera angles like change, him going up the stairs and her looking up at him. And then you see what transpires on the stairs in the servants' quarters. It's like the foreshadow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's so good. And I also I understand because I felt the same. So many people got the ick from his offer.
Tell us what the offer was.
So after having a fantastic ride, she um he thoroughly ruins her, to keep it as gentle as possible.
Uh,
And
I love it.
I'm trying, man.
Listen.
He to be as blunt as I want to be here, he does ruin her. And I see your face. Um, he ruins her thoroughly. And afterwards, offers, he asks her to be
Proposes
his
to her.
his proposal was to be his mistress. And good for her, but she just walks away.
Yeah.
Doesn't even say anything, just
Yeah.
walks away.
Yep.
Good for her. But and I did get the ick from it. Everyone got the ick from it. Come on, man. Like you
Oh,
ruined it.
yeah.
But
I was like, you idiot.
he yes. But and we do get from the trailer for the next episodes, we do see he does kind of address this, that he can't he believes that she is a maid. He has zero idea that she could be of any ranking that is socially acceptable for him to have an open
Right.
relationship with.
Right.
And I mean, out in the open, not,
Yep.
yeah, thank you. But
Mm.
she, because it's not just him, guys, like so many people are criticizing him for even suggesting this, but he saw one of his like acquaintance friends happy and in love with his mistress, taking her to parties and stuff like
While
that.
married.
Yeah, like he's married, but he's happy with the mistress that he's in love with.
Yeah.
And he knows that he, because if he were to even consider actually marrying Sophie, because at this
Mhm.
point he's down bad. But
Yeah.
he even considered the fact that he's offering her to be a mistress shows that he was considering being with her seriously. And if
Yeah.
he were to even do that, that would ruin Eloise and
Mhm.
Hyacinth.
Yeah, it would.
It would ruin Eloise and Hyacinth and probably even Gregory, if we're honest. Like it's not it would ruin his siblings. And he's
Mhm.
still like, granted, the pressure is not as desperate on him as it was on Anthony, but he's still a gentleman in society and he still has younger siblings. He
Yes.
cannot ruin his siblings' chances because he loves his siblings.
Yeah.
All the Bridgertons do. They have an amazing family dynamic. I love it.
Yeah.
It's very touching. So I cannot, you can't, yeah, it's cringy. I'm not saying it's not, guys, but the man genuinely cares about her and he's offering a way to be with her in the only way he knows how that's not going to ruin her life, his life, and everyone's life around him.
So I have to counter that just a little bit, because while you make excellent, valid points about how this would impact that of his younger sisters and then potentially even Gregory, who's at Eton, Benedict has also openly said that he's been introduced to a new world with that throuple, right?
Yeah.
And he wasn't quite ready to go back into the little box that he's always known, right? And that's why he's a rake, right? He, sleeps around, with the exception of Colin, the Bridgerton brothers have had their share of.
Colin had ladies
Well,
too.
okay. Well,
he talked so much about the ladies he had on his excursions. Don't.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Not in London, right?
No,
Colin
he did.
in London.
He saw it. Yeah, he
Oh
had
yeah, you're right.
girls.
That's right. You forgot. Okay. Never mind. But the fact that Benedict was likening his sort of life to that of Antony, who had an affair with an actress or opera singer or whatever she was, and he was happy with that. He was happy with that life. But for Benedict, who has openly said, I'm not ready to go back into this little box that was my life, when I've been open to new explorations, right? So while, yes, there's truth in how his decisions could impact that of his younger siblings, there's also some selfishness to it as well, because he does not want to necessarily get married. In lieu of finding the woman in silver, right, who could potentially be his future wife, he probably would have still proposed the same idea, perhaps, be a mistress, because he's not ready for a commitment like that. That's a huge commitment. So I agree with what you're saying, but I also think there's more in it that is self-serving than that of consideration for his younger siblings. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. Literally.
And I do get it, but because we do see him talk about, he's like, I cannot be with a maid. Like, he does say that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
I definitely think that he is more thinking along those.
Well, because of what it would do to his family. Sure.
Yeah. So
I just think he's like, he sees and hears that his friend is so happy with having a mistress. It's like, yeah, I see my wife, whatever, but like, I'm happy with my mistress. And for Benedict, that's probably like, well, that's a great loophole. I could be happy with a mistress and not have to be married to anybody.
True, but if he was going to be so cavalier in feeling about it as you're implying, then he would have offered this a lot sooner.
He's a man. They don't think.
No, because that's what I'm saying. He's been so horny for Sophie that he would have offered this a lot sooner.
That's fair.
If he viewed it in that way.
That's fair.
If he was so if he thought that this wasn't as big of a deal as it was, he wouldn't make it this grand. Like, it was a proposal.
It was an offer from a gentleman, as the episode is entitled,
and the book. So it's just, I feel like if he was going to be cavalier about it, just being like, yeah, this is the way I can get what I want, it would have been offered a lot sooner than this.
Fair. Well, yeah, he offered, she walked away.
Good for her.
Brava. Let's talk about the other storylines that are going on with the other characters in season 4 of Bridgerton. I guess okay. The other Bridgerton who's trying to get some. Actually, there's a couple, but
a lot of them are.
There's a lot of them are. That's fair. But Mama Bridgerton, Violet, my goodness, her being so honest with herself after all these years of being a widow, right? Her love, Edmund, sadly passed before even Hyacinth was born. So it's been quite some time since Violet has felt something. and her garden is in bloom, as she puts it to Lady Danbury. And Violet obviously has
Yes.
taken a great liking to Marcus, who is Lady Danbury's brother. And we've been seeing the flirtatious habits between the two of them at the masquerade ball, when they speak to each other, just at any given opportunity. But good for Lady Bridgerton or Violet to outright just tell him, you know, this is what I want. Like, it's been so
Yeah.
long, I have changed, but this is what I want.
Yeah.
And
And I love how it's like kind of interacting with everybody. Like she does mention, like she does have that talk um with Lady Danbury to kind of be like, "Hey, is this okay?"
is this
And
okay?
like I love and respect that. I think that's great. I also really liked when she was trying to schedule this with her like with her maid, with Mrs. Wilson, to be
She was
like,
so cool about it.
I know, and like Mrs. Wilson was just like, "Everybody drinks tea, madam." And like the way that like even, that Violet was just like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 I do deserve this." Because it was just the permission and I
Mhm.
to feel what she feels, because I do feel like a lot of it does have guilt, because especially when her kids find out. Specifically, I think Anthony's gonna have the biggest problem personally, but, um, seeing how different that I feel like she feels like she has to sneak around, because I feel like some part of her feels like without Edmund, she doesn't deserve this, but she does!
Yeah.
"Get your bag,
Life
girl, go ahead.
life is for the living, as
Get your
Mrs. Wilson
pinnacles."
tells her. Oh, Lord Pinnacles. Yeah. Um, but honestly, Violet, girl, when she is wearing her ensemble
It's
for
so hot.
tea drinking, oh my gosh. I was like, I understand why she had 8 children.
Oh, yeah, they would've gone through the whole alphabet.
Oh, yeah. All
And
26. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, and I loved the one of the first comments I saw after finishing the season was just that scene and be like, "Yeah, he came over for tea and he brought the biscuits."
Yes. So, again, I watched this part 1 with my mother,
Yes, yeah.
and I
I
was
watched
like,
all the rest of it with my mother, you're fine.
no, but it was just, well, given hindsight with what's happened recently in my private life, but,
Mhm.
um, you know, I was like, "Oh," and I think I made a comment, and I looked over at my mom, and she just kinda smiled, and I was like, "Oh, okay, well, she can appreciate it too," you know? It's so funny,
Everyone
but
can appreciate tea.
yeah, but just Violet and the iconic line when Marcus says, "Mrs. Wilson said we'd be having tea, um, elsewhere," and she's like, "I'm the tea you'll be having," and it's like, "Oh my god,
Good for you,
girl,
girl.
get it." Yes,
Gosh.
good for her. We're very
Mhm.
happy for Mama Bridgerton.
We
Um,
are. I
another
was terrified, along with everybody else, that Benedict was gonna ruin that. I'm so
oh,
glad that
yeah.
they were on other ends of the house,
Yes. Yes,
but
for sure.
it
But yeah,
all worked out. Lots of pinnacles met that night, it's fine.
well, not so much for Francesca, sadly.
Yeah,
Francesca and John, her husband, have as newlyweds are enjoying newlywed life, but he probably enjoys it more so than she does, right? Because she has not experienced a pinnacle as Penelope so eloquently explains to her without using any sort of what do you call it? Um
metaphors.
Metaphors. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. And I appreciate Penelope for just being very straightforward. I do
Yeah,
feel, however, that this would have been an opportunity if the actress decided to come back for Daphne to come back and explain to her sister
yeah, of course.
what she doesn't understand or what she's missing out on, because Daphne too was also very naive to the world of being married and what all that may entail, right? She
Yeah,
just didn't understand things. So for Francesca, who I do agree with a lot of people who feel that she is neurodivergent or, on the spectrum, both she and John. I can totally see it. And I love that representation.
I 1,000% agree. And Posey.
And Posey, yes.
I see it. I see it as a
Very much
person
so.
who is also on that,
Yeah.
Wheel. Word.
Wheel?
I help.
Rod?
Not the word.
I don't know. Spectrum?
Yes. On that. God, I struggled.
That's okay.
Yeah.
No, I love the representations. Fantastic.
Yeah, I see it. And
it's relatable.
And you saw it like right away too, because I was like,
you said nothing.
I was contemplating. I was just like, I want to see, but I also don't want to seem like I wanted to see if she would come to me with it, because I don't want to be like, I'm searching for my representation here.
No, I totally caught it.
No, I know, because like there's been characters like us forever. Like, I mean, Sherlock Holmes is the most notable example.
Yes,
but I was definitely like, I'm just not going to say anything this time. I want to, because at other times I would have mentioned it in other media that you and I have shared. I've mentioned it, but I was like, no, I'm not going to. And then the second, like, I think it was maybe the second actual like scene with Francesca that you were like, is she?
I was like, there's something there.
Yeah, there's something there. And I'm just like, yes. And we've chatted about it, and it's obvious. It's very much there. And in that way, I can understand why she would need a very detailed, thorough explanation about pinnacles, because she didn't know what that was.
Right. And also just to not fully get the innuendos behind it as well. Right. And
because I'm the same way. I'm like, no, don't say it's like having freshly baked popcorn. Freaking tell me what
biscuits.
Still, I mean, like, popcorn's great. Sorry,
okay.
I had popcorn.
Fair enough.
I had popcorn earlier. Sorry, guys.
Love that.
I'm still thinking about it. But
wow. But for Francesca, she, like many women in that era, were not given the talk. They are very sheltered. And so her trying to discover what it is that this pinnacle is, she goes and asks her mother, who was very flushed by this, and then to go to Penelope, who, as I said, explains it to her, and then I guess in her own way tries to reach that point to get a pinnacle, and has a very honest conversation with her husband John, who seems very understanding, and I think it's very sweet. But even from the end of last season, when John's cousin Michaela was brought into the fold, there seems to be some sort of energy that Francesca exhibits when she's around Michaela. So haven't read the book, obviously. I know that they've gender swapped Michael for Michaela. And that's going to be very interesting to see what may transpire in part 2 of this season with Francesca and perhaps Michaela, and how maybe that could impact her marriage with John. So, gonna be exciting.
Discuss things that I know. So
please don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I know how we both differently view spoilers, so I will not. But I do. From the information she was given, Francesca made her most valiant attempt, because Penelope, the thing is with most, not all, most neurodivergency people, we take things very literally, guys. That's why the similes and metaphors were not making sense. And that's why when Penelope said that it can be spontaneous, it can come from spontaneity or the shock of, or the surprise of it all. That's kind of why she tried to jump her husband. That's kind of why she tried to jump John, because she thought that was a key factor. And I mean, the girl tried, and it is very upsetting, because she they've been married for almost a year now, and they haven't had a child yet.
Mhm.
And she has come to this conclusion because John made a comment that is not true, but he heard a comment that he made a comment that he has heard that pregnancy happens more when a woman reaches her pinnacle.
Pinnacle.
And because he said that, she thinks that because she can't reach her that she hasn't, that
Yeah.
she thinks it's her fault that they are not with child. And
Mhm.
that and her whole infidelity journey is very important and sad and heartbreaking.
Mhm.
And I she's just trying to understand why she hasn't had that yet,
Yeah.
especially when she's around her and around nieces and nephews and stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
it's gonna be it's hard.
Mhm.
And she's just trying to understand. But
Yep. Yep,
yes,
yep,
there
yep.
is some kind of tension there. And
Mhm.
especially when she had told in her season last season, um, when she was talking with Violet, because Violet wants what she for her children, what she had with Edmund. She wants these
Mhm.
grand,
Love.
sweeping, passionate love. That's the thing. She wants passionate love. She doesn't she and John and Francesca do love each other, but it's so calm and it's so
Mhm.
quiet.
Mhm.
And it did take Violet a while to become comfortable with that and to see that that's not lesser.
Yes.
And I
It's just
and
different.
she did come around and she does understand now, but she describes that when talking about it, discussing it with Francesca, she said, like, "When I met your father, I couldn't even think, I couldn't even speak. Like, I forgot my own name and stuff like
Mm.
that." And then at the end of the season, when Francesca meets Michaela,
Mhm.
she stutters and forgets her own name. And it's
Mhm.
definitely that we don't know which direction that they're going to go with this,
Right.
but and we don't really know what the dynamic's going to be. We
Right.
don't know if um what we do know is that she does love John.
Yeah.
And no matter what may happen with her and Michaela, that doesn't diminish her love
Right.
for John.
Yes.
And it's just a small thing that I wanted to like bring up, that no matter what happens in the future, or
Mm.
just because she hasn't or cannot reach a pinnacle or bear a child with him, that doesn't diminish her love for him.
Sure. 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 Sure.
And it's something I want to bring up because it's very important to me.
Yep.
I
Yep.
love Francesca as well. She's one of my top
Yes. Protect
favorites.
her at all costs. She is
Yes.
lovely. So, that being said, let's talk quickly about the maid wars that ensued after Araminta fired Sophie and dismissed her from the household, right? Because Sophie was so valuable in that household. Keep in mind again, household of 8 servants, where
Mhm.
Sophie did the work of 4 maids. That's how many maids it took in order to replace Sophie. And Lady Penwood was poaching maids from other households, and it was gossip. It wasn't gossip that the queen liked. Let me put that in there because we are going to talk about the queen in a second, but it caused a rift amongst these noble houses to the point where even Varley, who is the head maid or household keeper, whatever you call, at the Featherington home, where the Lady Featherington and her daughter are talking about what's going on with the maids and how Varley was approached to go on and work for the Penwoods. And you could really see how Lady Featherington just does not value Varley because she automatically
Mhm.
assumed, oh, I would love to have seen the face that they had once you told them no when you
Yeah.
refused. And she's like, you did refuse. It's like, oh no, of course, mom, but I wanted to discuss, maybe increasing the salary, which is fair, obviously,
Yeah.
because she does do a lot of work, and
Mhm.
it's only right to fight for yourself, know your value, and know what you're worth. But then the spin of, oh, Varley, this is improper. You don't discuss things like this in front of family. And for Lady Featherington to try and sort of smooth things over with Varley and say, "Oh, well, we just can't increase your wages right now because then it's going to cause the others that work here to ask for the same thing, and here's a box of my old clothes, these hideous
Yeah.
clothing, right?"
It's basically
And
when you ask for a raise and you get a pizza party.
exactly. Thank you. Yes, exactly.
It's
So
such a hollow letdown.
it's very much a slap in the face. And so
Mhm.
Varley, she's okay, I'll accept this, what have you. And then the next thing you know, Lady Featherington is saying, "Oh, I got rid of so many clothes, I had to get new ones made." And, you know, and Varley's like, "What the hell? Like, you told me there wasn't enough money to
Yeah.
give me an increase, but you go and buy new clothes when I can't afford to buy anything for myself on my rare day off."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Peace out, like, I'm
Yeah.
out. Like, I'm gonna go
Good
work
for
elsewhere."
her.
I love these women who are
Yeah.
standing strong for their beliefs and their
Mhm.
self-value and whatnot.
Oh,
So,
yeah, and I do like that we also saw the duality of that,
yes.
because Violet talks to Mrs. Wilson and, like, about these maid wars, like, and she doesn't even say the full sentence before
Yeah.
Mrs. Wilson's like,
Like, "Don't
"We're
worry.
good.
We're fine.
Yeah, we're
We're
good."
good.
And
We're good."
that kind of bond and familiarity, because these people spend a good 85% of their day with these families and the families that they work for, and I just the duality of that and how they're treated. I'm loving how in this
Oh,
entire
yeah.
season we're seeing the servant side of
Oh, yes.
everything.
It was giving very
Love
Downton
it.
Abbey,
Everyone's
like,
saying that. Yeah, I agree. It's
which is great.
yeah, and I just like seeing it. It's
Mhm.
definitely it's nice to see how everybody is different, because a lot of those, like Mrs. Wilson, it's the same actress who's been playing the head housekeeper the entire
Mhm.
show.
Yeah.
And
And Varley
there's
too.
like, yeah, Varley, and like all of these are like they're characters that we know, and
Yeah.
we do have more familiarity with Varley because we have more instances with her, like
Mhm.
seeing her scheming and helping Portia and doing all of those things with her. We get a lot more personality out of Varley throughout the seasons, but this season we're kind of getting everybody, and I love it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. What's gonna be interesting for sure is the fact that all these maids that have been poached by Lady Penwood are gonna be in very close proximity now because the Penwoods are moving next door to, I believe, the Bridgertons, but they're for sure gonna be in that same neighborhood.
Yeah.
So that is going to make for a very interesting season, or second part of the season, because Sophie obviously working at the Bridgerton home, and then her former lady, mistress, home, whatever you call,
Stepmother.
stepmother, whatever. All is going to be revealed, I'm sure. I'm very much looking forward to how that's going to transpire. But before we conclude today's pod, let us talk about the dynamic between Queen Charlotte and her friend, sometimes subject, Lady Danbury.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
My friend and I
This
cried.
it's it's very sad for sure,
Mhm.
because Lady Danbury at this point, who has been a very loyal friend to Queen Charlotte, is asking for permission to leave court and leave the country so that she may return home to her ancestral home that she has not been to since she was 4.
Yes.
And for those asking, Sierra Leone is where she's originally from. And she wishes to return home. I get that. Like, I totally understand that. But because she is a former lady in waiting to the queen, she's a close friend of the queen's, she's noble, if you will. She has to ask permission to leave. And she makes like this really wonderful plea to
Mhm.
Queen Charlotte at the masquerade ball. as Queen Charlotte's looking on, and she's,
Yes.
more interested in the gossip and, Benedict, oh, he's my person of the season who I'm gonna, make a
Mhm.
wager with Lady Whistledown about he's gonna be married off. But this beautiful plea from Lady Danbury is completely just no, shut down, right? And it broke my heart because this is supposed to be someone that you call your friend.
Mhm.
You did you really even listen to what she had to say? Did you consider her feelings of what she is asking? Because at one point, Lady Danbury says, I will leave. And she's like, she backtracked. I would like to leave, right? Because she has to remember who she's speaking
Mhm.
to. She's speaking to the queen. Charlotte just says no, right? And throughout these 4 episodes, you see how Lady Danbury wants to revisit that topic. And Charlotte is just making every effort to dismiss it, right? They play chess. She wants to have the ribbon dancer person entertain them. And the scene where they really get into it, Amber, I want you to talk about this, is very reminiscent of a scene that played out between a young Queen Charlotte and her newlywed husband, King George.
Yes.
Go for it.
And people have seen have done TikToks of showing it too, and it's beautifully edited. I'll send you one. But it's showing the moment because in Queen Charlotte, when she was young and had just married him, literally their wedding night,
Mhm.
she where earlier that day he's like, "To you, I'm just George."
Mhm.
And I'm not or whatever, and he was insistent about leaving and leaving her alone, and she was like, "No, no, this is our wedding night.
Mhm.
We're supposed to have our wedding night." And he like she kind of because she has a fiery temper, she was trying to stand up to him about this, and he, for reasons at the time that are unknown to us and unknown to
Mhm.
Charlotte, he vehemently disregards that. He's like, "No,"
Mhm.
and he says, uh, "No, you will do as I say because I am your king." And she is immediately hurt by this because she backs off and says, "Forgive me, your majesty, I thought you were just George." And
Yeah.
she and even by showing it, like, and her reaction to that, he immediately is just like, "No, no, Charlotte." Then she's just like, "May I be excused, or do you have more to say to me?" Like,
She
she
w
has, like,
she
asked
followed
permission.
protocol. She
Yeah,
followed protocol. She went back into what she's supposed to be doing as a royal.
exactly.
Mhm.
And then the years later, when she's hashing it out with Lady Danbury, like, they both stand. They're both
Mm.
like, they both stand up to have this fight. And she says, "No, you will not leave. I am your queen." And we talked about over text was that um because Lady Danbury left was going to like, "Okay, if I am just is that all that I am to you? I
Your
understand.
subject. Mhm.
And if I'm just your subject and if that's all I am to you, okay. Maybe I be excused." And she just leaves.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
before she even gets out the door,
Yeah.
Charlotte says, "I'm sorry."
So sorry. Yeah.
And she says she's so sorry, and she breaks down. She starts crying, asking what will happen because she'll be all alone
When
should
he
something
dies.
happen. Yeah, because we see it in um we kind of see reference to it throughout in Bridgerton the show, but we mostly see it a lot uh in Queen Charlotte, like her season, is that uh she's just waiting for it to be any minute now because he
Mhm.
is so far gone cognitively that, and it's only been getting worse, and
Yes.
she is expecting it any minute.
Yeah.
So, and it's very much true, and that's kind of why I was like kind of pushing for you to watch Queen Charlotte, even though I was trying not to because
Yeah.
of personal things. But I
Yeah.
was that I feel like if you don't watch Queen Charlotte, you don't understand as much
dynamic.
the dynamic and the sheer amount of loneliness that the
Mhm.
queen has, because like they say in the show, she is forever frozen as his queen. That's
Yes.
why her outfits are decades out of date. All of
Mhm.
her outfits and costumes, decades out of date. It's not
Yeah.
she's not kept in high fashion
No.
because she's trying to apply and still be there for the mental state that George is in.
Yes.
And that's beautiful and heartbreaking. And
Yeah.
I can't imagine the loneliness that she feels on a daily basis. And Lady Danbury has always, almost from the first week of her honeymoon, to has always been there as someone that she can rely on, a constant and a
Mhm.
friend.
Mhm.
And I can't imagine the fear that Charlotte has for losing her,
Yeah.
because she would be entirely alone, and
Yes.
she would be entirely alone again,
Mhm.
always. Like, she
Yep.
doesn't even get that relief of being able to invite, whenever she's feeling low, she can invite Lady Danbury over, and they
Yeah.
can have some rounds of chess. Like, they she wouldn't have that at her disposal, and
Mhm.
I do, as much as I think she finally, when they were breaking down and they were hugging each other and crying,
Mhm.
she kinda has that realization that, like, "Yeah, I am using her in this way, and
Mhm.
she really is my friend, and I can't be doing that."
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking, and I'm almost gonna cry again, but, like, I was crying during the scene, but,
Oh.
um, the the reason that I wanted to bring up the King George and how that's a reference to it is that she got an apology immediately, and George never apologized for how he treated Charlotte that night.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
so
That's tough.
she gave Lady Danbury the apology before she even walked out the door,
Mhm.
the apology that she never got.
Yeah.
And because she saw what's happened, she saw that she did
Mhm.
the exact same thing that George did to her.
Mhm.
And it makes me sad.
It is very sad. It truly is a bit, but self-awareness and growth from what she endured as a young queen and how she laid that out for Danbury
Mhm.
and then took it back, right? So it's good, great
Yeah.
growth. But for Lady Danbury, who is determined to leave the country,
As
is
she
going
should.
as she should, because the queen is down one lady in waiting, due to being with child, right? She's like, how thoughtless. um, Lady Danbury is seeking to replace said lady in waiting
Mhm.
through the Lady Mondrick, uh, who kind of was blindsided by this
Entirely.
this endeavor, and she's not happy about it. She's letting it be known in front of her husband to Lady Danbury that she didn't appreciate it. And again, I love that the women are like standing up for themselves, right? They're not
Yeah.
going to be pushed around by men or by one another, which I think is great. But it does seem like maybe Lady Mondrick is going to accept the role as being lady in waiting to the queen and maybe even become her friend, and therefore being filling that void for when Lady Danbury leaves the country
Mhm.
and returns to Sierra Leone. So,
Oh, yeah, I loved how she worded it too. Like, she's like, "I'm not asking you to fill my shoes, get your own shoes." Like, I
yes.
loved it. And
Like, the sparring is so sweet. It's like it's just so
also,
good.
that's a really good offer. Like,
Yeah.
of the time and of the like, that
Mhm.
position, that is
Mhm.
such a good thing that she is offering Alice.
Mhm.
And, oh, she's gonna do it. And also, I don't know, because again, I haven't read the books, but
Mhm.
I have heard talk that when Lady Danbury returns, that she returns with others in tow that impact the younger Bridgertons.
Ooh, very interesting. Like it.
Yes.
Love it.
So,
Can't wait to see it.
oh yeah. I Again, like you said, I love how everybody's standing up for themselves. I like how people are being more open and emotional and understanding of themselves and
Mhm.
others and their relationship with others.
Mhm.
I love this season, guys. And
It's very good.
not just because it's Benedict's, but I'm genuinely enjoying it
Yeah.
and the duality of it. I mean, I would be sad because if this means that we're not getting Lady Danbury next season, I will be sad.
Very.
But
Very. But maybe they'll do like what they did with Anthony and Kate. She may not be in the
hey,
first half of the next season, right?
yeah.
We'll see.
And I've seen so many people too saying that, like you mentioned earlier, bring back Daphne. And
Mhm.
I do understand why they haven't
Mhm.
recast the Duke, but
Mhm.
they recasted Francesca.
And no one noticed.
Yeah, it can happen, guys. Like, I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
I will suspend belief. And I just don't I don't think that that's a good enough excuse to not have Daphne
Yeah. I
because you're
mean,
telling me that she
the one sister that they look very similar and could relate to one another on that
yeah,
respect.
you're
Yeah.
telling me she didn't go to their wedding?
Yeah.
Like, she didn't go to Colin
She
or
didn't go to anybody's.
Francesca's wedding. I think she went to Anthony's,
Oh, she did go to
because
Anthony's, yeah.
she was already there because she was when he was gonna marry Edwina.
Right.
So, like, she was there for Anthony, so why can't like, you're telling me that
Yeah.
Daphne, who very much is like, "I love my family and I love family." Like, that's
Mhm.
why she fought so hard to have a family with the Duke. Like,
Mhm.
she loves her family, and
Mhm.
the fact that she didn't go to 2 of her siblings' weddings?
Mhm. No explanation.
I
Very sad.
don't I don't understand. Even just have a comment of like, yeah, he's dealing with some stuff, but I'm here." Like,
Yeah.
or just
Yeah.
recast the guy. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm but
Yeah.
that's a personal little rant there, but
Well,
they need to bring
per
back that.
personal rants aside, that does conclude our first part 1 rather of episodes 1 through 4 wrap up for season 4 of Bridgerton. Very excited to watch part 2 when it comes out on February 26th, and we will be back to wrap up those episodes 5 through 8. I'm very much looking forward to it. Hopefully, life won't be lifing like it has been, and we'll be able to get this to you all sooner. And Amber, before we head out, let's talk about your wonderful
Oh,
YouTube channel.
okay, before I do, I just wanna
Yeah,
say, I'm so glad that I got you into this
yeah,
because listeners, anyone who may be listening, back when 2 years ago when season 3 was coming out,
yeah,
I was like, You should watch it though. You should. You
hmm,
should. We can totally watch it, you know?"
yeah.
And, yeah, so it took about 2 years of
She wore me
me
down.
yeah, yeah, pushing and prodding, and I will not be ashamed, sharing my media is my love language.
Hmm,
So, I
hmm.
am very happy that I got you into this. But my channel, the
Yes,
stuff
your
right
channel.
here. Um, so I have a channel called All of Amber's Wands. It's a study of wands and wand lore in the wizarding world and beyond. So I do a on that channel, it's a YouTube channel, but I do some things on TikTok and on Instagram as well for it, where I do a wand analysis. So I go into the cultural, symbolic, historical meaning of the wood and the magical beast that is the core of that wand, and I compare it to the character who owns that wand. Or if we do not have confirmed wand stats for a character, I will search until I find something that matches. And I usually give my criteria is I usually give 3 wood options and my reasoning why they would match this character, and I kinda, like, leave it up to the viewer, like, "Hey, which one do you think it is?" And I usually pick a core because Ollivander only picks has 3 cores that he uses, so but if it's not an Ollivander wand, I get to play with it a little bit more. Definitely very fun. My nephew is turning 11 in a couple of weeks, and I have already done the Hogwarts house quiz with him and the wand quiz. So I am actually going to be doing a little thing for his birthday.
No.
But what I've been doing a lot on TikTok, and I have slowed down on it, but I want to get back into it. I'm very slow, guys. Muggle life sucks. But I
This is
was
true.
doing a lot of tell me your wand stats or what you think your wand would be, and I'll tell you what that means. Because a lot of people don't know what it means. So that's why I created the channel in the first place, is to talk about wands and all I know about them.
Mhm.
So I have been doing that for people and others. So if you want to, you can find that video on my TikTok or on my Instagram, where I ask you what your wand is, and you can comment, leaving your wand details, and I will reply back eventually with your wand details and what that means about you.
Awesome. Thank you, Amber. So go over and show Amber some love. You can find her information. It will be in the description box down below. I failed to add it here for today's pod. I apologize. It will be rectified soon. But yes, be sure to go and show her some love, follow her channels, and ask all things wands. This is like her thing. But for us here on the Watchers in the Basement, we appreciate you all taking time out of your day to join us. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, as well as the notification bell. That way, you know the next time we go live here on YouTube. We enjoy having people join us in our chats. Even if you're watching us on a replay, leave your comments down below. That way we can get back to you. And yeah, we love the engagement. Don't forget to check out all of our social media in the description box down below, as well as follow us on our audio podcast available to you on Apple and Spotify. Be sure to give us a follow and give us a 5-star rating. So, Amber, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here and talking
Thank
all
you.
things Bridgerton. We will be back next time for part 2 of season 4 of Bridgerton very, very soon. Until then, we will see you next time.
Dearest gentle readers.